for joining us on the expedition into your soul. So the Buddhas are those beings who enter into your dream and point out to you that you're a slave. Then it's up to you to awaken and see if what they're saying is true. That if you're a slave, or you can decide for yourself, I'm going to be happy. And you're happy. So that's the distinction the Buddha makes. You can decide when to be happy. You can decide what to think. You can decide when not to think. You can decide when to be loving. You can decide when to be strong. Totally your choice. Or you have no freedom at all to decide what state you're going to be in. You wake up one morning, you feel good. By the afternoon, you're in a hell realm. You've no choice. Completely, whatever thoughts come in, it affects you, changes your mind, changes your emotion, you're upset. And whilst all those things happen, you completely identify with them as if it's who you really are. So Buddha said, is that true or not? Then if it is true that you seem to have no choice, then you have to wake up. So Buddha said, unless you're phenomenally gifted, you'll be able to do that. You won't be able to do that on your own. On your own, meaning without listening to anyone else ever again. So from the point someone says you're in slavery, if you are phenomenally gifted, you won't need to listen to anyone else again. You'll figure out what that means on your own and become completely free. If you can't do that, you'll continue to listen to someone who's releasing you from slavery. And one of the most common things in the slave system is, don't listen to the person who's freeing you from us, because if you do, you're a slave. That's how they keep you bound. So you check out the Buddha. The Buddha means someone who's awakened. And see if they're trying to free you into your own mind. Or not. And then check out the person who's telling you that if you listen to someone else, you're automatically a slave. And see if they're free. And who they listen to, if they listen to anybody. So, these are just very simple indicators of what the path is, what the function of a Buddha is. The Buddha cannot free you. Otherwise, you would be free. Because he would have freed you. In fact, if we go from the perspective of the Sufis, you have free will. It cannot be violated. So what are they doing? One, in particular, the Buddha, is like a relentless realist. You can search, but you won't find anyone. This is ironic that people call the Buddha like escapism pronunciation. It's like the absolute opposite of escapism. The first thing Buddha said out of all his teachings was, you should know that your life is suffering and look at it in microscopic detail of all the pain and suffering that exists in your life. That's the start. It's the absolute opposite of escapism. It's like, in general, it's like, don't intoxify yourself. Don't, generally kind of stop socializing as much as you do to look at reality of your suffering. Don't escape. Okay? That was the Buddha's way. It's going, first of all, sort that out. Look at how you're suffering. So, and then you'll enter the path of freedom from suffering. And Buddha's a genius, and he identified how suffering is. He identified all the causes. Then when you know how all the causes of suffering are, you stop them, and you enter the path to freedom. Freedom from slavery, so you can decide, if you want, I'm going to be happy. And you're happy. That's freedom. Not, I'm going to find a partner, I think that'll make me happy. And a lot of the times it doesn't. So it's guesswork. And whatever you get in the world, it's a gamble. Whereas what Buddha taught isn't a gamble. So you check for yourself. So the start of the path is you investigate the right view, the right path, the right direction. You have to take a lot of study, practice, which we viewers will do slowly over time. But the main way to get that right view, that right ability to see your life directly, is to meditate. Is to develop this ability to start controlling your mind. Controlling mind might sound tight or something. The ability to break the chains of slavery. So you can actually start to decide for yourself how to be. Now, just as when you're going in a train, you've no idea how fast you're going because you're at one with the speed. Yeah. You have no idea if the windows are down, they're blanked down. You have no idea how fast you're going. None. It's only if you get perspective and look, you just go, whoa, look how fast we're going. So the first stage in the meditation is, you might think, I don't need to meditate that much. Thoughts aren't too bad. And as you get into the first maybe few weeks, few months of practice, your mind gets worse, seems to get worse. This is a stage of progress. Yeah. So if you started on, don't get discouraged. This is a sign of progress. You're becoming aware of the relative speed in which your mind was moving. Whereas before you were just on the thoughts, so you never knew how much you were thinking, you're just on them continuously. And as you just pull back for a second, it'll seem like your mind is overloaded. It's like, whoa, let me just think again. And it's like, that's what's kind of happening relatively in your mind. That analogy maybe gives you some sense of what it can be like to feel you're still But if you look at how you're moving, you realise how fast it is, then you put the blinds back down and go, nah, I'm not really moving. That's better. So, we're doing different techniques every 3 days, I say, to experiment with ones that you feel connected with, that you like to. The ability to release yourself from where thoughts and emotions take you without your control. So you can debate or question whether that's what freedom is. So if you decide to, I'll give you 2 examples, two thoughts. Can't think of offhand the name, but we know there's many wealthy. There's a football player, Welsh captain, loaded, millionaire, famous, loved, beloved, wife, kids, cars, everything that usually they can say that we're chasing. Fame, respect, the perfect career, the one that they wanted, the perfect family, the perfect status, and the perfect amount of pleasure. Commit suicide. Gary Speed. Then we'll take Yangtang Rinpoche, Dzogchen master, in a concentration camp. So if you don't know much about concentration camps, look into your World War II history. In a concentration camp for a long time. I don't know, is that possibly 20 years? When he came out of the retreat and met Westerners, he went, I was happier in a concentration camp than you are in your pleasures. And in the concentration camp, they just did retreat. Just did teachings when they could, practice meditation. So chin, rested in awareness. It's kind of like a holiday camp. So you have to decide for yourself who is free and who's a slave. Because if you looked at it externally, that white dude, white is the elite class in the world, and he's a male. That white male dude he's got a beautiful family, kids, he's well known, he's famous, and everybody loves him. And that kind of dumb, primitive Asian dude, he's in a concentration camp. I know which one's free. Which one's free? If you, let's say I'm coming across, no one in their right mind would think, oh yeah, the guy in a concentration camp, he's got it all going on. That's what I want. So we have to check. Have the powers that be, part of their slavery system, got you thinking you're going to find happiness in external things? And that someone who guides you out is trying to trap you and get you attached. You have to think for yourself. Whether a friend is an attachment, and whether someone who's bound you to these things that bring no happiness is giving you freedom. Very important. So the start of all the paths of the Buddhas is developing respect, love, joy in the Buddha, in the awakened ones. As the Buddha taught, devotion is a foundation practice. Devotion being that sense of joy and community, of people who are free. When you're free, you can actually share something. No? You can debate me. If you're jealous, angry, attached, whether you're actually got something to share with other people, or you're just trying to get something from them for your own means, and whether that's actual freedom in human communication. Or if you hang out with someone who wants you to be yourself, whether that's some kind of slavery. So that's the basically try to get some faith in the person who's trying to release you from your slavery. And the main faith comes from practicing. So Buddha never said, believe me. In fact, he was absolutely against it. Categorically, throughout his 40-odd years that he taught, continuously, do not believe what I'm saying. And even, he did like what we'd say miracle powers, and say none of his disciples would say, look at what Buddha's miracles. No, they just say, come and see, check it out, try it yourself. And then actual trust arises. And if you don't like it, you move on. Didn't work. It's not for you, not your thing. It's not inherently right. There might be some other way, some other practice, some other teacher. But the main thing is practicing. Seeing for yourself. And then when you start seeing for yourself, then you start asking questions about what's happening, how to go deep, how to be freer. Think about it, that relationship. You're just trying to figure out how to be freer. It's like, and you maybe get stuck. It's like, can you tell me how to be free? Try this, try that. So, I'm getting freer and freer and freer. So we'll start this meditation again. It's from Padmasambhava. Well, he taught it, but it's prevalent amongst all teachers. And it's the gaze at an object. Some teachers some students like to gaze at a candle. But anything, I would say, it's a pebble, a stone. It can be something very neutral, or it can be an image of someone, a holy being. Probably best something that doesn't give rise to attachment or craving, like a porn star. Probably not the best idea to gaze at if you want to develop peace of mind. But it's up to you. You might like the crazy path, I don't know. So we watch, we gaze. So when we do this, just say, let me see what time do we start? 7 for 20 minutes, okay. So we'll start just say a couple of things to start. So traditionally, you're doing practice, you want to generate just a good heart, a good sense of love for yourself before you start. And you say, this sense, I want to be free, I want to be free. I must honor myself, love myself, what greater way could I look after myself than to free myself from the inability to be happy. Just as you would counsel someone else who you could see was in pain and torment. Oh, you should be free from this. We do that to ourselves. This is why I'm practicing, to be free. And if I am free, then, as I say, surely that's the best way that I can help others. Is to be radiantly happy, peaceful, content. Then I'll have something to share. So this is an act of sheer love for yourself. Let this be now your motivation to start. Almost like it's your own inner sanctuary of treasuring your being. This is Buddha's way. Buddha said, you can't help anyone until you love yourself. Love, rest in that sense of radiant love. And look after yourself. So, what we do now is you get your object and place it before you, so you'll be looking down at about a 45-degree angle. So I've got my picture of my root guru. It's the most beautiful object in the universe. And the choice of objects in the room is something else I've never seen before. So again, the meditation will be 24 minutes. And we'll begin and end with the sound of the So begin by relaxing your body, making contact with the earth, feeling the sensations of the earth as it connects to your body. That sense of solidity, being grounded. You want this sense of feeling stable for the time you're meditating. This helps the mind relax. And again, we scan through the body with our awareness. And if we feel we have any tension, without doing anything with our breath, we allow the tension to release on the exhale. So we're consciously relaxing. like we're entering into the bath of our own being. This sense that this is our time, and a time to be completely at ease. Then quite naturally as we do this, we settle our speech on the breath. By bringing attention to the breath and the sensations of the body related to the breath, such as the belly going up and down. We allow that natural rhythm to quieten the mind. Never losing that sense that with each exhale, we relax deeper and deeper and deeper. And then just feel your natural presence of here now, letting the mind rest at ease, dropping the past and dropping the future. Just a natural presence. Gently open our eyes and let our attention rest on the object. In this meditation, we are consciously not thinking thoughts. That means whenever they arise, we release them. We're setting our intention not to follow them. And we're using the meditation object as an aid to bring our awareness still and in the moment. So our attention rests on the object, keeping us in the here now, and free from thought. And we don't focus too tight on the object. So we're still aware of the space. So we want a continuous sense of ease doesn't matter to us that thoughts are there. What we're doing is making sure we don't follow them. Thoughts will be there, but we have no interest in them. Our interest is in the object. Our interest is in relaxing. Our interest is in being still. Now, the most important and crucial piece of advice is when you do notice you've been caught in a thought, you followed the train, you're almost unaware of the room. Your first response must always be to relax, inwardly smile. In fact, feel a sense of joy that you're practicing correctly by noticing the thought, and without any effort, come back to stillness with absolutely no frustration. At this stage of meditation, the object of it is not just being still. That's one part that will overflow. The other is that ability to notice when we've become distracted. So the ability to notice is success. And we'll continue in silence. moment, close your eyes. Let go of all practice, all doing. Simply just rest in non-doing. So the advice is, when you come out of this meditation, is to come out slowly, softly. If you really practice in your meditation, and we go, a sense of mindfulness, of still resting in yourself. So Padmasambhava says, imagine you've been concussed and you've got a bandage on your head and how careful you are around people. By any injury, well, I presume you've had an injury, maybe you've cut yourself, you're just aware of the cut and you're just aware where people are and stuff like that. So we try to do it. We're very fortunate if you're a meditator, they have the social distancing. And it produces one of my favourite human reactions. So you practice mindfulness if you're doing it with other people. And then you're mindful and they're not. Then they notice that you're practicing mindfulness and you've been caught not being mindful. They usually kind of tut at you or make a joke or no, So it's like try and condemn you or put you down because you're being mindful. They're not. They should have been. You are. And in order to kind of self-save the ego, they then mock, however subtle or slight it may be. It's one of my favourite human reactions. And it's like, whatever it is, can be like, no, that's stupid really after all, whatever it is. It's a kind of mindset that is, when I'm feeling quiet, you should be quiet. And when I'm in the mood to party, come on, you're in the mood, you should be in the mood too. That mindset, So you always have to be aware that if you are starting to even the most slight sense of freedom, of happiness, of mindfulness, people will attack you. Which leads us again to who is interested in your freedom and who is interested in your slavery, of keeping you locked down to who you are. You are this person. In this great journey to the soul, one of the most simple, one of the most simple, can't be simpler, but most profound techniques is to change your name. Can't get simpler than that. How can you get any simpler? I mean, I guess looking at an object's quite simple. But that, you can't really take that into the world. But you can change your name. And tell whoever you're with that you've changed your name and see if they enjoy your new freedom. And see if you're afraid of how people react to you. You're too scared to even say that I'm doing something for myself. Then you'll realize so many things. Whether you can stand up for yourself, those who want to keep you bound to how they've told you who you are, even though we know that you're maybe striving for happiness, you haven't found happiness, and you're doing something, you say, this is helping me find happiness. No, it's not you. Amazing. And then on top of that, it reveals emptiness. This is the deepest teachings of the Buddha. The power of conception. Just change your name. So for some communities you get a Dharma name. Lay practitioners have fit on the path of the Buddha. A lot of people yearn to get a Dharma name. So basically you take initiation, you make a commitment to the truth, to Dharma, for us, to God, to existence. And you change your name. Some traditions you maybe wear a mala, and some change your clothes. So. But it's a very joyful occasion if you move into the truth. So this is for coming out of meditation, if you want to care for yourself, to look after your meditation, if it's producing any results. You don't have to do anything, really. You just notice how people, if they support you or they attack you. So just be aware of that if you're starting to meditate and you're starting to become happy. So we can say from experience of many meditators, nothing winds people up more than you becoming free. Nothing. So we take it to the best example, the most famous example. Jesus. It's like, couldn't take it. It's too free. It's murdered him. I mean, what was he doing? Just a peaceful guy, just talking to his friends, but glowing with happiness, which is a threat to a religion where people aren't glowing with happiness. So it just indicates this isn't true. So your happiness will indicate to others that they're not living true. So they will either celebrate with you or they'll attack you. Even say right from the start when you're practicing, people can notice something. So it's just to be aware. What's the purpose of Buddhism? Just be aware. See what happens. See what happens. Has anybody got any questions? Is there any questions for this evening? Is there any? Are we on? A couple of minutes, a few minutes.
Okay. So
Okay, so as post-meditation, again, you can do this meditation, you can take it anywhere. Say you can look at a tree, look at a lake, and just, it's nice and natural. One of the other meditations, you can look at the sky. It's like merge your mind with the sky. They want to live close. If you practice in Buddhism and you want, in particular Buddhist lineage, it's very strongly connected to nature. So, it's a kind of sense of living with nature, that nature will soothe and help you find rest. We know, we just go for a walk, just to enter that peace. And then, so you're out for a walk, and just sit and rest your gaze lightly on some flowers. And just let go of the past, let go of the future. And use that object to help you. Let go of the thoughts, the attachment to thinking. And if you've got a lot of time, then you can do that for 16 hours of the day. I'm only joking. That's for advanced meditation. So Padmasambhava's advice is, if you do have a day, and again, if you're on the path, you should dedicate at least 1 or 2, 3 or 4, one day of your life, day of the month, dedicated just to Dharma. Particularly your meditation. In which case, if you do such a meditation, you just do short sessions. Maybe like 24 minutes, have a break, have a cup of tea, then go back, do another session. Maybe it can be 15 minutes. So the 2 objects, okay, that's the alarm, so we'll just finish off. The 2 obstacles, the main obstacles are dullness, feeling sleepy, and the mind can't stop thinking about David Icke and what's going to happen, what's he going to talk about later, what's he going to do, and you can't, your mind's just off in excitation. These are the 2 obstacles. So particularly as we're trying to learn to relax, that dullness is the main one. So we have that, so whenever just spacing out, an alive clarity. So, what do you mean by alive clarity? So a good one is watching a horror film. It's a great example. Why do people watch horror films? Because they like the clarity of the mind, the aliveness, the brightness, the sharpness. It's not pleasurable. It's not pleasurable watching a horror film, but it gives you a buzz. That's the clarity of the mind. That's what we want in our meditation. That's it when we breathe in, that, but in stillness. We have that clarity. And a good example of drunkenness, have a couple of beers, and that's dullness. It'll feeling sleepy. So when that happens, you have to refresh, reboot. And you can look up. If you're doing different meditation, you can look up, helps keep the mind bright. And the opposite, if you're excited, look down and focus more again on the exhale. And just letting the thoughts go. I can think them later. Until we just have that natural ease, stability, clarity. And just do short sessions like that. Whilst we have those, and if we're getting too much on one, just stop the session. But throughout the day, And this is how to become a meditator. But you really have to spend some time. You have a minimum practice, say, that you can do every day. Regardless of how busy your life is, you can do that. That's what it means by minimum. And you take time and effort to dedicate to, so like the minimum length of time to practice, as in what you should, the mean average, there's different averages you should be doing, is an hour every day of meditation. So if somebody looked at your meditations for like a year, they would say he meditates for an hour. That would be the conclusion. But within that, there'll be a few days where it's like 20 minutes. And then a few other days it would be 3-4 hours. Or like a whole day you've dedicated. But mainly, look, an hour, 2 hours, hour, 2 hours. All right, whole day, 8 hours, day retreat, meeting. And then go, maybe once a month, I just did 20 minutes, it must have been busy that day. It's like that. So we build up slowly, until we can, if we're a meditator, do 16 hours a day. That takes a number of years. And so it's always joy. That's the sign, meditation. It's always joyful. Whereas if someone said, sit with your mind for 16 hours in the day, it's corporal punishment? Is it? It's the highest form of punishment we know, to sit with your mind. Okay? Yeah, so it's like we build up to that so we can break through. Okay. So this, just so we finish that sense of joy, of finding these treasures, and this sense I'm uncovering my soul. Yeah, I'm uncovering my soul. And feel these many analogies for every tradition of the man who's living like can't eat, he's got no food, no money, desperate, dying for years. And then he's trying to get money everywhere and do projects, and nothing works. And someone says, you've got a treasure chest of gold buried under your bed. And he looks, it's like, I was rich all along. This is what meditation is. That's what we're doing. You kind of look and go, and then you. That's how you can do 16 hours a day. See you later, boys. Enjoy your party. This is the real party. So that's how we should feel. Okay? So, thank you for listening. Thank you for practicing. And God bless. And we dedicate any efforts, any virtue, that our karma may ripen on every other living being, that they may find happiness, freedom from sickness, peace, love in their lives, absolute joy. And may there be peace on earth. Amen.